Again, it's Friday. It's Friday morning, June 30th, and right now in the city of Detroit, we have 71 degrees. Look for sunshine and clouds today. A stray severe thunderstorm is possible, so be prepared for that. Tonight's low 68 degrees. Likely this evening there's a chance of scattered thunderstorms. 313-298-1027 is our number here at the Mildred Gaddis Show on 102.7 FM. Today, Sam Riddle joining me here on the show. How are you, Sam?
Good morning, Mildred. So good to be with you. My first time in this new studio, and we're going to just have a ball here, aren't we?
Okay, don't get too excited because we're going to be moved back to the other one when they fix it. Okay, but I like it here too.
It's okay. I mean, as long as I'm on the air with you, I mean, we could be broadcasting from anywhere, and it would be all good.
Well, you know what? Let's take a listen to what has a whole lot of folk talking and what just really ignited the Congresswoman from the 14th Congressional District here in Michigan, Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence.
Saw her on CNN this morning.
Yeah, getting a whole lot of press, isn't she?
Yeah.
She was fired up. Let's take a listen to what occurred on Morning Joe that energized the president to respond, thereby energizing Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence and other people, both Republicans and Democrats, on the heel about what Donald Trump had to say.
President Trump's clubs around the country, including Mar-a-Lago, there hangs a frame Time magazine covered in 2009 featuring one Donald J. Trump.
I'm not hearing on these at all.
We're not hearing on the headsets.
First reported by the Washington Post's David Fahrenthold. That's why he gets the Pulitzers. Some tip-offs include the use of exclamation points. Trump is hitting on all fronts, even TV, and The Apprentice is a television smash. The date was made up. Time Inc. confirmed there was no March 1st, 2009 issue. The White House response today, we couldn't comment on the decor at Trump like Trump's one way or another. Donald Trump was never on the cover of Time magazine at all in 2009. There was, however, a March 2nd, 2009 issue.
No, I'm not hearing anything.
And whoever did the phony Trump cover
criticized Morning Joe and his co-host, who happens to be the former Congressman Joe Scarborough's fiance, for criticizing him. And let me say this as professionally and as tastefully as I can. This president seems to have some kind of obsession with women and certain health challenges. I'm not necessarily challenges, but he said some things that were offensive and sexist about how the female co-host was bleeding from her face.
From her plastic surgery, right?
Yeah, from her plastic surgery. And they were begging to stay with him.
Right, at his Florida White House.
Yes, and he said no. And it was the attack and the way in which he said it that caused Republicans and Democrats to back away from those comments. Here's what the Congresswoman from Michigan had to say. We're talking about Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, who at a press conference with a group of other female congresspersons standing with her, fired off against the current president.
Right, I saw her this morning on CNN. She's getting a bunch of national media because of the indignation that she hurled at the president, saying that he was being very, very disrespectful. And that's at a minimum. I mean, you know, Mildred, the thing about this is, though, America knew what it was getting with Donald Trump. I mean, this guy's been a jerk his whole life. And now he's the president of the United States, and Donald Trump himself doesn't distinguish between him being president and what he was as a mogul in New York.
Let's take a listen to what Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence had to say.
Sick and tired of the disrespect that is constantly being displayed from our President of the United States of America. As a Democrat and as a woman and as an African American in this great country that I love, I want to fight for jobs. I want equality for women when it comes to equal pay. I want to be able to say that when a woman needs help, she can get it in America. I want my girls educated. I want investment in education. I want a country that's reflective of one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. And this is not acceptable, Mr. President. You do not have the right, because you have a Twitter account, to display behavior that I taught my son never to do. I taught my son, and I am respected on so many levels, but from the Oval Office, as a woman, I'm not getting respect. We are here to do the work. These are times when we go home to our constituents, they're not talking about your tweets. They're talking about, where are the jobs? Where is my health care? Where is my immigration reform? Where is the respect for criminal justice in this country? Mr. President, this is a direct to you. Eyeball to eyeball. Do the job of a president of all the people of this great country and stop the disrespect.
Well, Mildred, she's strong. She went hard there.
I've got to ask you something. You know, I recall when the historians began to talk about Dr. King, and I'm not comparing Congresswoman Lawrence to Dr. King, but what most people agreed on was it wasn't that King shaped the movement, the times and the movement shaped him. And in fact, he didn't want to lead it. If you recall down there in Alabama, those other older preachers said, yeah, you're going to do it. So the moment was there, and he didn't seize the moment, but the moment seized him. What's happening with the Congresswoman from the 14th Congressional District?
Quite frankly, I never thought that Brenda Lawrence, when she first announced she was running for Congress, I didn't personally believe that Brenda Lawrence was up to it. But the times are shaping Brenda Lawrence. You know, Brenda Lawrence came over to Nan campaigning. Yes, she did. And we looked at her, we were somewhat skeptical, to say the least. But as I've listened to Brenda Lawrence and watched her grow into the role of not only being the Congresswoman for the 14th District, but when I watch what Brenda Lawrence did in those hearings on Flint water in Washington, when I look at some of the national issues that Brenda Lawrence is stepping up to, and given the vacuum in national black leadership right now, who's to say that the Brenda Lawrence that used to work at the post office is not going to step up to the challenge and become a national, maybe even international figure in terms of the leadership that we so desperately need in this nation and around the world. She's stepped up her game at the very least, but the times are shaping her, and she's up to it. The president ought to understand what Lyndon Johnson said when he said that office shapes the person, not the other way around. Unfortunately, Donald Trump seems to be totally oblivious to that, and he's the same Donald he's always been.
Without a doubt. I'm wondering, I thought it's amazing. When I saw this last night, when I saw the Congresswoman, I got to tell you, I was in awe of how she represented the people from Michigan, and I thought about, because she was mad. I think for years we've come to see this Congresswoman when she was in her other position as a very calm, steady kind of person. But now we see energy. Now we see her tackling the issues, and she's not as calm as she used to be, which is impressive. But I thought about something you just said. Now she's beginning, people across the country are hearing her and seeing her. And I think that's going to make a whole lot of difference.
Well, the times are shaping Brenda Lawrence, and that's a good thing, because we are in a leadership vacuum, not only in Michigan and Detroit, but across the nation. And who's to say that Brenda Lawrence won't be in the forefront? Again, sometimes the times shape us. But what I liked about what I heard Brenda Lawrence saying is something that I posted on Facebook real close to that, when I said that the issue here is not really about, the real obscenity is not Donald Trump dissing the host of a cable show, an always privileged white woman with Russian DNA. The white woman's always been privileged. She'll survive no matter what.
And I want you to hold that thought right
Okay.
there, because unlike in our other space, we could break the rules. We can't now. We automatically go to commercials. 14 past the hour. We'll be back with This Week in Review.
It's your girl, Darlene McCoy, and the next time on the Spirit Top 15, we're going to talk to Jay Moss. And in the chat room, I have
Elena.
a question. Have you ever
I need
heard
this
someone
story
brag
printed.
about a dish
I
that
have it here, but I need it
but
printed
then
because I
once
won't
you
say I have it.
I've tasted that dish. You wanted them to
That's
go
right,
back.
Elena.
Get yourself a cookbook.
I said Elena to let you
This
know I can
weekend
say
right
Elena.
here on the Spirit
And
Top
not
15.
Alana.
You talking about LaQuan McDonald's?
This Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on Praise.
At Maya, we're celebrating with
Thank you.
dynamite deals on 4th of July essentials starting 6 a.m. Friday during our 5-day sale. Like ground beef for $1.79 a pound. Johnsonville Bronx,
Now,
$205.
show me
Sweet
how
baby
to,
Ray's barbecue sauce, 88 cents.
answer
And
this
American
phone
cheese,
in case it
starting
rings.
50% off. And don't miss our coupon event this Friday through
You want me to
Sunday.
cut this
Save
out?
up to $30.
Yes,
Plus save an extra $5
We're on
off
break
your
now. I
total
can't talk.
purchase
I'm
of
on the air
$50
with
or more
Mildred
on
right now.
anything throughout the store. With so many ways to
Okay.
save, you get more to celebrate.
It ain't no
at
one
Meijer.
thing. I gotta go.
Restrictions apply. See our full ad at Meijer.com.
You're approved, guaranteed, or we'll pay you $500 cash on the spot. Only at Kia of Canton. Kia of Canton on Michigan Avenue. Brand new Kias, $3,000 below invoice. You got a job to ride, you ride. You got a job to ride. All you need
Now,
is
what
a
are we
job,
doing
a
with
pay
this? So
stub,
we
at least a
actually
5
live
credit
right now
score,
on
and no
YouTube?
open bankruptcy.
The outtakes.
Okay.
They like that.
Yeah.
Oh, so, okay, so he's my people.
You see, they like that when I'm asking you a question between the breaks to see what happens in the studio. A lot of people never have access to what actually goes on in the studio. When you show us interchanging, me asking you the question, they know we're on a break, they get a kick out of that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because if you ever watched, many years ago, before he got banned, Don Imus used to be on MSNBC, and they would show the whole show, you know, what goes on in the studio, on the breaks
Behind the
and
scenes.
all that. And people like that. He started talking about nappy-headed black girls and stuff, and that didn't help him at all. But a lot of people across the country are real interested in how we roll in Detroit. The platform you have when you broadcast on YouTube, I mean, that's worldwide. And, you know, people need to know how we think, how we roll in Detroit, because we do go a little bit hard. And we do have a few more problems in a lot of places in the nation. And we speak to that on this show. This is probably the only show where that happens to the degree that it does without the censorship that occurs in other places in Detroit.
I told Kathy Hughes yesterday, she called me.
Today. Free stuff for the 4 and 5
Thanks,
We're giving away swimwear, bikinis, cover-ups, board shorts, and more for only $5.99. We got
For
beach towels, 3 for $10. Get tons of shorts,
for the freedom
even the hottest
to have
cargo
been
shorts for now
able
only $4.99.
to just
Big
do
deal
it
kids
the
are
way
free
that I thought it
too.
should
Purchase
be
up to
done,
$25. You'll get
and
an
to stand on
Americana
truth and
tee
principle
Get the
and never be
biggest
called
beach
in on the
bargains
carpet
now.
about it.
Well, you know, I was confronted, and it was a confrontation when I was walking home from the Y day before yesterday by a talk show host on another station. He wanted to know why I never came on his show. And basically, you know, yours is really, I mean, I do some of the mainstream white stations sometimes in the morning out of Chicago. But I told him that's my choice.
Compelling talk you can count
Because
on.
it's a branding
This is the
process.
Mildred Gadis Show
And I don't want to
on
confuse the issue.
102.7 WPZR.
Our number here on the Mildred Gadis Show on WPZR 102.7 FM is 313-298-1027, 313-298-1027. Sam Riddle, Political Director for the National Action Network, my guest. We invite you to weigh in on the discussions here on the show. I want to shift gears a bit here, Sam, if it's okay with you, to go to Chicago. Now, I'm sure you will caution people, don't get all excited, don't get too excited, because this doesn't mean anything. What happens is what the verdict is when these individuals go to court. 3 Chicago cops were indicted Tuesday this week on felony charges that they conspired to cover up the actions of a white police officer who shot and killed 17-year-old Laquan McDonald, saying the officers lied when they alleged the black teenager aggressively swung a knife at officers and attempted to get up from the ground, still armed, after he was shot. The indictment alleges that one current and 2 former officers lied about the October 2014 incident when Jason Van Dyke shot the teenager 16 times.
A murder, pure and simply a murder, legitimized by a badge and the authority to kill while being a policeman in America. And the shame of it all is that in these cases, Mildred, we see these officers indicted, charged, put to trial, and then they walk free across the board. So nothing, it does mean something, the fact that they've been charged, but the proof of the pudding will be, will there be a conviction for these type of inhumane actions? I mean, what those policemen did, pure and simple, was wrong. It was a murder by police authorized to kill, to be judge and jury, and that's an executioner.
And these indictments, which are refreshing, at least they've been charged, and
Right.
let's just hope that they get a jury that believes in justice. These indictments mark the latest chapter in what has been one of the most troubling stories in the history of police forces, and there in Chicago. They've been dogged by allegations of racism, brutality, and the protection of officers who brutalize black Americans. Now, here's what happened in the city of St. Louis. You may be surprised to know that in the city of St. Louis, police officers, there's a black union for black police officers and a white union for white police officers. Black police officer, I think he was about 38 years old, off duty. He hears a commotion near where he lives. He goes to the aid of his brother officers. He is told to get to the ground, and while he's on the ground, one of the police officers recognized him and told him to get up and walk toward him. Another police officer who arrives on the scene gets out of his vehicle and shoots the black officer.
Yeah, I've heard of that case. It's no surprise. And understand this, the segregated nature of the unions, the behavior of the white police officer, because he didn't see a black policeman. He saw a black man, and it's open season on black men or women in terms of how law enforcement they go on autopilot and shoot first and try to make up the facts later.
What's going to be the turning point, or will there ever be one? Because of telephones and videotaping through telephones and a few other things, these cases we now see and hear about. We know that they've never stopped happening since lynching. However, most of them have not made their way to the evening news or to the headlines of a newspaper. Trayvon Martin's case, I think, was probably the catalyst that made us stop and pay attention, as well as energized other people when they saw these murders occur, to get video if they can. And if they can't get video, to at least talk about what they saw.
Yeah, you know, Mildred, we've got to keep posting on social media. We have to keep running those phone cameras. We ourselves must take responsibility as individuals, and where there are organizations as organizations, to keep this issue of this police brutality, these police who kill without reason, any season, and the open season there is on black Americans. We've got to keep this before the public. We've got to pressure mainstream media to cover these issues, because mainstream media has a way of just sweeping it under the rug. Look at Chicago, you mentioned that. You know, it wasn't that long ago in my memory bank that it was Mark Clark and Fred Hampton that were being murdered in their beds, action authorized by the state attorney general. And, you know, we've In other words, like you said, since the times of lynchings and castrations, we've seen this behavior in America. The real obscenity in America today is not tweets from Trump. It's the fact that America looks the other way at this totally abhorrent behavior on the part of police. America looks the other way at Detroit, where 84% of the children live in poverty. That's an obscenity. The real obscenity is in America that looks the other way when 100,000 people in Flint, Michigan have been poisoned by their government that then lies about it. Obscenities include, of course, the murder of American citizens who happen to be black without any right or justification. That's an obscenity.
Michigan has not been one of those cities, well, Detroit states, Detroit has not been one of those cities where there has been exposed police brutality recently. What's the story with Reverend Pastor Edgar Vann?
Well, now
walk us through that. What happened?
Okay, first of all,
Bishop Edgar Vann.
Bishop Edgar Vann has discovered he's a black man. Okay, like the countless other black men that walk and drive the streets of Detroit, in terms of how he was treated by a police officer that dared pull a gun on Bishop Vann. But now let's understand something. We didn't get all the facts when Bishop Vann first broke this story. And the reality is that if you have dark shaded windows in your car, if I'm in law enforcement and I'm a police officer and I can't see what's happening in a car, and I know these streets of Detroit, I'm going to be very cautious. I mean, it's bad enough with these police officers, some of them anyway, and I do believe Detroit has been a notable exception.
Okay, let's do this for us. What was the initial report?
Initial report was that a police officer had pulled a gun on Bishop Edgar Vann, and there was no justification for it.
Okay, so what's the real story?
The real story is that Bishop Vann was driving a car with darkly tinted windows that may have been breaking Michigan law.
I was getting ready to ask you, was it the average tinted window or was it the darker tint, which is illegal?
It was the darker full tint, from my understanding of it. And again,
okay, but wait a minute. So
tell me where you want to try to go with this, because
I want to, for people who don't know the story, I just want them to hear what. So the allegation is by Bishop Vann was he was mistreated and disrespected by a police officer,
and he's a police commissioner.
And he's a police commissioner. And did he say that the officer pulled his gun? Or he came to the car with his gun?
The officer,
which is kind of normal in a situation.
The officers are going to have their hand on their gun when they approach any vehicle.
They're supposed
My
to.
understanding is that this officer actually pulled the gun and had it somehow against his chest or something. Not against Vann's chest, but against
his own
chest.
Yeah. Okay. So Bishop Vann rolls the window down or he opens the door? What does he do? You
know, I don't have the first-hand facts myself. Looking at news reports, it appears that Vann initially rolled the window down and then the door somehow got open. I don't have the first-hand facts on that. Let me be clear on that.
The police chief, as I understand it, was defensive of his officer?
He was defensive, but he also, to his credit, Chief Craig wants to know why the cameras suddenly weren't working. The body cams that the officers are supposed to have, or even the in-car cam. There should have been footage of what was occurring, and that suddenly that footage is not available. There's something going on both sides here. We didn't get the full story from Vann initially, and also there's no camera footage, and there should have been. And that's what the chief seems to be more concerned about.
As a police commissioner, did Bishop Vann immediately identify who he was and that he was a police commissioner, or did it get that far?
I don't think.
How did it end on the street?
How it ended on the street was very humbly for Bishop Vann. Vann, I believe, was ticketed. Again, I need to look at that all over again, the reports, because that has come and gone in my senior memory. All I know is that it wasn't like as simply put as Vann would have liked it initially as a black man being profiled. Once you throw in the tenant window.
Was the officer white?
Yes.
The officer was white. Okay. So has it been perceived around town? Because I haven't heard any buzz about it.
Vann's not getting a lot of sympathy from the streets of Detroit because of his history, quite frankly.
298-1027 is our number here on the Mildred Gadis Show. There is a state senator, I'm sure you heard this story, who was headed to Detroit, and he said, I'm headed to Detroit, don't worry, I'll be carrying my CPL.
Rick Jones, I've done a couple of TV shows with him.
And I need to correct myself the other day when I brought this story up. I said that I had not heard from one single state rep, state senator, or anybody who talked about this and was offended. Well, I did not know at that time when I made those statements that Eon Conyers did respond in terms of how inappropriate it was, and so I just want people to know that the freshman, well, you're only a freshman your first year, huh?
Yeah.
Okay,
But Senator Conyers is an interesting study. He's really an intellect. I got to tell you that, Mildred. And this young Senator Conyers is going to make waves the right way because he's more than a familiar name. This Senator Conyers does his homework. He's a good writer. He's an intellect. And it'll be interesting watching his career move.
I encourage you to weigh in here. Give us a call at 313-298-1027, 298-1027. We haven't heard, we don't hear anything coming out of state legislature from the representatives of Detroit. What's going on?
I don't know. Sherry's in South Africa. But when I say that, I say it with love and appreciation.
And
I've
she's
been
on
watching
vacation.
her posts. Yeah, I know she is.
But in terms of people speaking...
Nothing. Nothing. Zip. Didn't mean to cut you off. Nothing. Zip. Do we even have elected representatives? We've got some fighting legal charges. We have some who were removed for killing cars. I don't know what's going on in Lansing right now. It would be good to know.
I want to know, and I know you've got your pulse to the ground, what's happening with this election coming up? It's so quiet.
Well, it's quiet, and that's the way the incumbents would like it. And then we have, right here in Detroit, City Councilwoman Mary Sheffield is trying to bamboozle us, play us. After Councilwoman Sheffield voted for corporate welfare for a billionaire, Tom Gores, the owner of the Pistons, who just bought a $100 million place out in California. But we, the good people of Detroit, the representatives, city council, voted 7-2 to give him corporate welfare, over $30 million for that Pistons addition to the already corporate welfare-laden hockey. I mean, you give corporate welfare to a hockey puck and a basketball, and then you try to justify it. But for Mary Sheffield to try to bamboozle us, play us, insult our intelligence by saying she's going to reconsider her vote's never changed. She's still one of the primary sponsors of corporate welfare in Detroit, no matter how Sheffield tries to spin it. And that's a shame for someone so young to behave so old.
What is going on with there are two at-large seats on Detroit City Council? What's going on with those in those races?
Well,
here it is. It's July 1 tomorrow,
well,
and the election is the first Tuesday. Oh, we've got to go to break again, Sam Riddle.
There's activity there.
Okay, well, I want to talk about that when we come back. You're listening to the Mildred Gadis Show. We're talking about politics and other things here on our new signal, WPZR 102.7 FM. Give us a call if you want to weigh in at 298-1027. That's 298-1027. I'm Mildred Gaddis.
Praise 102.7 in Detroit.
Mary Waters was like the prime minister speaker, and Jewel Webb participated in the press conference. And of course, British Commissioner Burton was talking about implementation of a green light, and it's in his district. for this year. So I'll talk about that later.
Brought to you by E1 Music, Dietrich Haddon, and
Anyway, it's interesting. You're on the same page with my notes. No matter what they say, great minds stumble along together. Oh, and this is a Selena shirt.
I know it.
I had to show you the label. I didn't know it when I put it on, but it's a Donald Trump shirt from years ago.
I didn't know Trump had gone. I didn't know he did Taylor.
Now just $96.
What's this thing?
Office Depot Office Max.
That's it.
Sam, did you share the Facebook feed?
Huh?
Did you share the Facebook feed?
Celebrate the holiday.
Not yet. I haven't looked at it. What? I'll do it. You can program me to do all that. I don't mind. Whatever you tell me to do, I'll almost do.
You have to go into your Facebook.
I know.
Oh, yeah,
I haven't done that. Okay, I'll do it right now. Thanks for schooling me.
No problem.
You know, I have twice as many followers as I do friends. I got the maximum number of friends.
Because you have.
Yeah, and I've got almost 10,000 followers.
Yeah, because you don't have a page. You just
No, I'm not into that.
Yeah, you just have.
I just do my personal one.
Yeah.
You can get you a page and send and direct everybody there.
No, I'm not in. It's just too much trouble for me. Let me see here. I need to go on here. Did you send it to me?
We're talking a warranty with a 100% inspection, just like you get with a new car. There are newer cars, 2015s, they come with factory warranty. All because they're leasing them. The payment is
Oh, here it is right here. Okay.
this program, they'll shore credit back up.
Are you taking congratulations?
Weekly. And don't forget to ask about the Avis Insurance Advantage. Find out how they
I'm about to write them.
Here you go. Here's your.
Okay, I just shared one of
If I
them.
give it to you though, I won't have it. I was gonna send it back to you in that box.
All you gotta do is hold it up. Just hold it up and I'll see
Say it
it.
again. What would we say?
Just hold it up and I'll see it.
Call 866 now low. 866 now low.
We have a stronger signal, a clearer signal now for this station.
Sarah Stronger. Is that Clarence? Is it Carmen? Carmen and then who?
Today wants to give you free information that shows you how. This program is proven to work for credit card debt, medical bills, and department store debt. Thousands of people have used it to have a portion of their credit card debt forgiven. Call now for free information and a consultation. We'll give you the secret to this money-saving program absolutely free. Get eye-opening information that could save you thousands of dollars a year or a month, depending on how much you owe. In fact, the more you owe, the more you can save.
Hi folks, Mildred Gaddis here. I want to thank you very much for joining us here on Facebook Live. I'm here with the dynamo, Mr. Sam Riddle. I want to thank you very much for following me to WPZR 102.7 FM and ask you to pay close attention to my 40th year anniversary in radio taking place on Tuesday, July 18th at the Athenaeum. We'll be talking more about that, and you can go to eventbrite.com and pick up your tickets. Thanks again.
Attention, if you or your loved one had an IVC filter implanted in your body. The IVC filter is implanted to prevent blood clots to your heart or lungs. The FDA has issued an advisory that these IVC
You're coming back in 1 minute.
veins or organs, causing serious injuries, including heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, even death. If you or
And
your
you can
loved
log
one
on
had
if you
an
want to
IVC
tell the
filter
people hello.
implanted, you may be entitled to financial compensation.
Okay, let me see. I can't tell which one is. They look like. You just send me two separate ones.
Yeah, because the first time we cut the video off, so there is 2 videos.
Okay, well, hopefully I shared. I don't know what I shared. I'll have to look at my tape.
How you reach us. I want you to stick around today because it's Fashion Forward Friday with Keisha Sims and Cornell Germain. That's around 11:30. We're going to have a great time with them. Sam Riddle joining me here. Did I interrupt your response before?
Oh yeah, we were talking about that large race. The fact that this seems to be such a dead election cycle, and it really does. But you know, 2 days ago, I attended a press conference over at the Parkview Place Apartments, and I got to tell you, Mildred, it was very interesting. All 3 of the TV stations were there. The Detroit News covered it, and basically, at-large candidate Mary Waters called for the green light system, the Detroit Police Department green light system, to be implemented at senior citizen housing and recreational centers because of the increasing crime at these residencies. Senior citizens are actually living right now in a state of fear in some of those units, and basically what former State Representative Waters said was that if we can protect people when they fill up their cars, why can't we protect our senior citizens where they live and sleep? Now, I did have one interesting aside there. Wayne County Commissioner Jewel Ware, who is running against she who would bamboozle us, City Councilwoman Mary Sheffield. Well, County Commissioner Jewel Ware was there, also supportive of the measure to implement the green light monitoring system at senior centers.
Now, had the police department has decided that it's going to extend the green light to assist senior citizens?
Well, the cost has to be met. Alexis Wiley of the mayor's office, interestingly, was slightly smug about it, said she was not on notice about it, but we had Police Commissioner Willie Burton there, strongly in support.
And what do you mean she wasn't on notice?
Well, she felt that she hadn't been properly notified of the recommendation. But right now I can say this, and that is that funding from the private sector has been secured for the pilot program, which would take place at Park View, where, quite frankly, Catherine Richardson, the president of the Park View Tenants Council, was strongly in support at the press conference. So basically what you have is a situation where citizens, former State Rep Mary Waters, and a police commissioner are moving the city along in this project and have also secured private sector funding for the project. There'll be announcements on that coming up soon. It was interesting, though, that one of the stations where I was instrumental in getting a reporter fired, quite frankly, WDIV, their reporter appeared to have a slight attitude there with some of the questions, demanding answers to the funding, the timetable. Those are all legitimate issues, but if that same station used the same methodology when the city has been doling out corporate welfare to billionaires, Detroit might be further ahead informationally. I had to stick that in there, sorry. Just a dig at one of the mainstream media sources here.
Listen, we've got Carmen on the line. Hi, Carmen. Welcome to the Mildred Gadis Show. Carmen?
Carmen.
Guess if she... Carmen. Let's check in with Mark then. Hi, Mark.
Are we getting a connection here?
Yeah, it seems it's not the callers. It's something here on the board.
Well, we're in a new studio, a new station. It's all going to be great. I mean, we'll just have to let our fingers do the walking a little bit and figure out these boards and whatnot. But clearly, you guys are calling in and keep calling in.
And certainly we appreciate that. Let's talk about some other races here. There is some buzz in the district that is currently occupied by George Cushionberry.
Absolutely.
Attorney Linda Bernard was on the air here, and she was smoking. I mean...
But does anyone really know her in terms of the electorate? She's a good person. She's very talented.
She's very smart.
Oh, no question. Over the years, Linda Bernard has just been great analytically.
She's above par.
No question.
Intellectually. I don't know what's going on with Virgil Smith over in that district. What's happening?
Well, first of all, Virgil is campaigning pretty hard. You know what's interesting? Virgil has a pretty good base of support amongst middle-aged women, even after killing a car. And it's very interesting that he has that type of support. Roy McAllister has his base of support.
I saw Roy McAllister sign the other day.
Well, they're around, and his people are out there campaigning vigorously. I'm sure that George Cushionberry is going to get through the primary. The real issue is will McAllister, the perennial candidate, be able to beat back the babyface car killer Virgil Smith? I think that's a big issue. Then you mentioned Linda Bernard. I think the big issue for Linda Bernard is will she be able to get out her vote? Will she be able to touch enough people in what I predict is going to be an abysmally low turnout? I mean, there's just no juice to this election cycle. I mean, and people, they vote name ID, name ID, name ID. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they forget all about some of the issues concerning George Cushionberry. They don't even understand what push-cush really means. Sorry, Richie Clement.
Anybody in trouble in, James Tate, go along, get along. Nobody's challenging
I really think
him.
Jane Ayers in that large race has some issues. She's got all the endorsements, but I don't believe that she's connected with the city of Detroit. Jane Ayers used to work for Dan Gilbert, and that shouldn't be a bad thing. But her votes show that she still works for Dan Gilbert and not the people of Detroit. Now, we do want these filthy rich guys in our city. We want them here. But we need a balance in terms of the allocation of resources.
And so the issue, and I'll say this again, the issues are with the people who represent the people of Detroit, who've been elected to represent the people of Detroit, because they are the ones who are supposed to negotiate in the best interest of the city of Detroit.
But this council's a rubber stamp.
I get that. And I'm saying that the beef is really with the council people because, anytime, and I'll go back to this because it just disgusts me. Anytime, you never heard me say anything like that, have you? Anytime council people and their representatives can meet with the representatives from the Pistons organization and ask for 60 basketball hoops, money to assist the Henry Ford Health Gym facility down in Midtown, as if the Fords need any money from anywhere. I don't even know if they knew that this was being done. Somebody wanted
Say it.
200 tickets to games.
See,
instead of asking for illiteracy centers, full service facilities where seniors can go and use computers, where children can go and be tutored, where there are workout facilities for children and adults in the neighborhood. Instead of asking for things that could have a long-time impact on the quality of lives of people in the city of Detroit, they're asking for 60 doggone basketball hoops, 200 tickets to Pistons games. Come on.
You know what, Mildred? That's why I love doing your show, because you're on top of it. You say the things that other people will whisper. You broadcast it on the air. And the problem is that these jack-laid politicians keep getting re-elected. People keep re-electing on the basis of name ID. People, if your elected council people are choosing basketballs over babies, you need to get rid of them. You need to throw them out of office and vote in someone new, because right now your Detroit City Council is more interested in basketball tickets than they are in taking care of business for the children, the seniors, and the people of Detroit. And that's just insane.
Sam, let's go to the phones and see if Beverly's there. Hi, Beverly. Thanks for calling the Mildred Gadis Show.
Good morning, Mildred.
Hey.
Sam, that works.
What's on your mind, Beverly? Mm-hmm. We know who you are. Go ahead, Beverly.
So the opportunity, if they want to go into recreation mode, let's put some money in that center. That is a prime historical point of view for Detroit. And so now we have Henry Ford benefiting from.
Now, I don't know if the Pistons folks said, I'm sure they said yay to the tickets. We know they said yay to the basketball hoops. Now, I don't know if they said yes to the Henry Ford Health Facility. That makes no sense. It does. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense.
But someone who advocates for the residents of that Brewster Crossing area, in particular, has been suffering from the lack of investment. And Dan Gilbert is going to profit off of this upcoming housing redevelopment in the area. Why not get some money to demand for that real resident?
Well, the problem,
here's the deal. Here's the deal. These folk didn't ask for anything like that. They didn't negotiate. They were not looking past themselves and their little temporary seats on Detroit City Council. They're not concerned about the constituents in the city of Detroit. That's why they are elected. They're supposed to go there and do the bidding for the citizens. And I will be the first to say, it doesn't have to be an adversarial situation. Nobody's saying, let me just tell you what I know. Life has taught me. People may not like you, but if you act in a certain way, you are commanding respect, and they will respect you. Won't go along, won't like you, but they will. When they come to the meeting, they'll say, "Well, look, when we're going in here, we got to give up."
Well, yeah, but we don't have representatives like that.
That's what I'm saying. They know. And so they walk away just laughing, saying, "Dag, I didn't expect that to be that easy." That's all they want?
Well, that's what Orr told me, the emergency manager. When we interviewed him at the now defunct Michigan Citizen, Orr came in and he said, when I came here, I thought that there'd be riots in the street about this emergency manager thing, but after about a month, I realized that wasn't going to happen.
I had that same conversation with him.
It's just amazing because Go Hard Detroit has a lot of Go Soft elected representatives on the Detroit City Council, and Detroit, you deserve better. We deserve better. Absolutely, absolutely. But when you talk about those Pistons, they have a hold. I just had a slight run-in with Nolan Finley, the editorial guy over at the Detroit News. I was at Campus Martius after a run the other day, and he walked up to me. I was sitting at a table out there at Campus Martius. He said, "I don't want you to disrupt my party." He and Stephen Henderson were having some type of bourbon event, literally bourbon, the whiskey, event there with the Detroit Pistons #1 guy, administrator there. And I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, you're here. You're taking pictures." I'm one person. I'm wearing shorts. I'm sweaty. And this guy's worried about me disrupting.
But you're Sam Riddle.
And he, Nolan Finley, who asked the question, "Where are the black people?" Nolan, I live downtown. Get a life.
It's 53 past the hour here in the Mildred Gaddis Show. Before we go to break, I want to remind you all, people, please get the Harper Hill book. It's the first. It's going to be this time. It's going to be the second Monday in July. We'll be having our July book review, but we want you to be able to talk with us. And of course, this is the book that Hill Harper wrote, talking to young men, and he is going to be, I guess you call it a visiting resident. He's buying a property over in the Lodge, Chicago Boulevard area. Listen, we've got to go to break. We'll be right back, and then we're going to continue this discussion. Hey, we welcome you to weigh in at 298-1027, 298-1027. You're listening to The Mildred Gaddis Show with Sam Riddle and Mildred Gaddis.
I'm the only person that a federal judge has ever banned from tweeting and Facebooking years before Donald Trump got into tweeting.
Really?
That happened to
Right.
But I'm just mentioning because of the tweet phenomenon now, and that was over 7 years ago.
Gosh, that don't seem like it's that long.
Yeah, well.
I'll be right back. I'm just zooming.
Yeah, well, depends on where you are. Thing with the Chicago police, these police are getting away with murder all over the country, and we're going to have to refine the way we raise hell, because they don't care about our cameras, but we got to keep the cameras rolling. We got to keep working social media. We have to.
Is there an off switch to the cameras? On
the
person?
Them. Well, we can't depend on them to film them killing us.
Mm-hmm.
We have to keep the cameras rolling when we see them committing wrong, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
These police officers, I mean,
what do you think?
Again, overwhelmingly, the bulk of police officers are decent people.
Mm-hmm.
But these rogue killer cops have to be stopped. And now in this atmosphere of Donald Trump, it's as if they have a license to kill, and it's open season on black Americans, male or female.
Mm-hmm.
And, when we do #resist, that could mean a lot of things. Hopefully, we continue to walk down the nonviolent path. But when you look at what happened in Dallas, when you look at what happened in Baton Rouge, there are a lot of veterans out here, young veterans, who don't have the same attitudes as some of us older veterans. And I just hope there's a peaceful solution to this.
What do you think will be the best solution?
Well, the best solution are well-trained police officers who are humane and who will not reach for the gun first. It takes more of a man not to use a gun than someone to just squeeze off the trigger and then recite the mantra, "I feared for my life." Those suckers weren't fearing for their lives. They intended to kill from Jump Street. And we have to make them accountable. I mean, there can't be any more paid leaves for these guys. I mean, I believe in due process. I believe in the presumption of innocence. But right now, I mean, when we look again at the lopsided score in terms of the killer cops to get away with murder, the nation deserves better. Again, the real obscenity is not the president tweeting. The real obscenity are cops to get away with murder, poverty, and the fact that you get away with poisoning over 100,000 people in Flint, Michigan, and the nation looks the other way. And you're more upset over a crazy tweet from Donald Trump to a cable talk show host. Where are the priorities for the babies and seniors and pregnant women that have been poisoned in Flint, Michigan? Or is it because Flint is overwhelmingly black and poor? Or is it because 84% of the children living in Detroit in abject poverty are black? You know, we deserve much better in this nation. As one who served 4 years in the military, this is not the America that I served in the military for.
Oh, you're welcome.
So Emmanuel, I'm not used to this drab Emmanuel.
I'm sorry, I got a lot on my brain.
We all got a lot on our brain.
Well, it's extra for counseling.
I'm still smiling though. I'm still trying to hang in.
It's extra for counseling, Emmanuel.
Yes.
It's extra for counseling. but we all need someone to listen to us. It's not easy talking your way, or even having somebody to listen. And sometimes we get really foggy when we get wrapped up in thoughts.
Right.
And actually can lead to acute depression.
Oh no, I ain't falling in that.
No, don't.
No.
Whatever you do. Because you heard that old saying, this too will pass, whatever it is.
Oh, I know.
It will.
Elena, are we running the calendar?
I had a
Sam Riddle here, and of course we're talking about, right at this segment, we're talking about what's going on in the city of Detroit regarding elected officials and their representation or lack thereof of the citizens who elected them to do so. There, today at noon, in about an hour, the Detroit Federation of Teachers will be meeting to decide whether or not they're going to approve their current contract. Is there anything to approve?
I'm pretty sure that now, I just happened to be in a meeting with the new superintendent, Vigi, and the head of the DFT union was there also over at the 14th Congressional District offices on Livernois a couple of weeks ago. And I didn't get the feeling that there's a lot of conflict ahead.
I don't either. I think
the deal's done.
I do too. There's no doubt in my mind about it. When I heard that this morning, I said, "Oh, it's done."
No, that's exactly the feeling I got.
But you know what's funny about this is, well, not funny, but what's different about this is that in past years there was always, well, almost in past years, even when people pretended to be with the teachers or whatever, leadership pretended to be.
You mean like Keith?
No.
Oh, okay.
There was a little buzz. You know, we sort of felt something.
Yeah.
But there's been nothing around here.
Well, think about it. There's nothing, no buzz around the election, no buzz about the teachers' union deal with the school system. I mean, the buzz factor seems to have left Detroit.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
You know, they come after the churches, no buzz except from a few.
But then they got a deal on the drainage thing.
Who cut a deal?
Some of those preachers did with Doug, and you know that.
Well, I think there must be a separate deal.
There is,
because Tellis Chapman hasn't cut a
no,
deal.
he's out
still
there.
fighting.
But, yeah, but many
the
of the
other guys, they've
mainstream
gone in and
preachers have cut their deal.
Well,
I mean, the ones that stood, did Tellis Chapman stand up next to Mike Duggan to endorse him?
no, he didn't. Absolutely not.
Well, there you go.
No.
Check the ones that stood with him and are with him right now.
But there's a group out there that's not going along.
They need to stand strong and speak up.
They've been fighting. They're not going along with it because here's what the reality of this. Some churches will have to close their doors. They will not be able to stay open and pay drainage fees. You want to know something else? And I got this from some pastors of some smaller churches. The banks have called in their loans. And the banks have said, we know that you aren't going to be able to make your monthly payment as well as pay these drainage fees.
See, they've got to organize and confront the banks, confront the city right now. You see, it's too late once foreclosure occurs. You've got to start moving and organizing, standing up and speaking out right now. And if you don't do it, you're going to be a victim of this heartless, callous attitude that permeates the financial institutions. Understand what this Trump election means. There's a callous attitude toward those people that have demonstrated compassion, like the churches. Even though I've got to say, a lot of that church leadership has not been speaking out when ordinary citizens in Detroit have had their water cut off.
You're correct. Let's go to the phones. Marissa, welcome to the Mildred Gaddis Show. Fine. Thanks for listening and thanks for calling in. Thank you, dear. Yes, you're on. Yes, you're still with us. Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, I'm not familiar with the name of the company that's doing the building. I'm not familiar with the funding at all, but here's what I can tell you is trending in Detroit right now, and that's the phenomena I talked about earlier of corporate welfare, where the needs of big business are being taken care of, but the citizens you mentioned that try to keep the property clean and the upkeep tidy are almost being victimized by the misallocation of resources. In other words, the people that at least need the money are getting the money. The people that should be considered for resource allocation or get money aren't getting it. Everyday citizens of Detroit should not be at the back of the line when they dole out money. Now, if you think you're at the back of the line and you already have a community organization, you need to really look at the leadership that's supporting big business getting these dollars and you not getting the money. Residents of Detroit not getting the money. And then you need to vote your pocketbook and conscience and quit supporting people on the basis of name ID. I'm not getting on your case. I'm just saying vote your interests.
Okay, you know what? I need you to make it quick because I've got to go to another call. Go ahead, my dear.
Snyder. And what were the results? We got to get to the next call, but I hear exactly what you're saying. And understand, nothing's fair out here. Our job is to organize our people and vote in our people so that we'll be at the top of the list for monies and water systems and whatever. And that's not happening right now because we're not winning. But we win when we vote. We win when we organize. And we really appreciate your call.
Pat, how are you today on this Friday? Thank you, my darling.
Bridget, I just wanted to make sure you still there. This is Shane.
You know, yeah, they don't. Well, enough said there, Mildred. She made it real clear. But you know, Mildred, people have to vote their interests. When you see people on that council that do not represent you, the people of Detroit, it's time to get rid of them.
Bridget, welcome to the show.
Bridget. Well, Bridget? Yeah,
yes,
now
dear.
we can.
Go ahead, please.
Happens all the time. You look at the guy they gave all those, they made a tree farm out there. Now I understand he might be selling the property for something else. Again, we have to fact check on that. But the reality is that the looting of Detroit has been enabled by the poor leadership of Detroit, in particular on that Detroit City Council. And Detroit deserves so much better, so much better.
It's currently 11 past the hour here, and thank you very much, Bridget, for checking in. 298-1027 is our number. 11 past the hour here on the Mildred Gadis Show. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more to come. Okay, Elena. Okay, you got your headset on. I need you to listen, and it'll tell you why I need you to listen. We don't want people lingering on the phone on the air. If you can either pot them down, and the professional way to do it is to pot them down and then drop them. Because if they're still open and they feel that they're on the air, they're gonna keep talking, and we want to move on. Because we had that woman who was dragging.
Yeah.
See, if I'd been on the board, I'd have been potting her down and then dropping her, because that sounds more professional, because people can't hear when you drop them. But once we get that first part out, and it's not, you can't assess most times. 17. Let me just say, this is not a candidates forum. You know, we once a week we'll bring our candidates in from time to time. In fact, we had candidates on this week, yesterday. We had a couple of candidates running for the city clerk's office. And as I asked yesterday, if you're running for political office, you know, I'm trying to grow and be better and be softer.
You got me.
But don't try to be slick, calling in here saying I'm so and so running for mayor. We had one of those. No. We're not doing that. Now, if you want to comment on something we were saying, only use your first name. I don't need you to tell me you were so and so and so and so, announcing your whole name so that all the listeners can hear, and all the other candidates don't get to do the same thing. It's inappropriate, it's unfair, and it's not what we're going to do on the Mildred Gadis Show. Okay? So if you're a candidate, you want to be on the air, leave your information. If we have not reached out to you, we're continuing weekly to reach out to candidates. We probably will.
And if you're doing something that's newsworthy, you know, that can be discussed.
But not in the middle of a regular discussion about something else. You have to ask for that.
Yeah.
Okay? We didn't just start doing this. We've been doing it for decades.
Decades.
298-1027. Sharon is on the line. Hi, Sharon. You're on the Mildred Gadis Show with Sam Riddle.
Sharon? Oh, Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
Sharon.
Sharon. Did we mispronounce your name? Sharon?
Should we whisper it?
Try that.
Sharon?
Bye, Sharon.
Okay, let's go with Pat. Pat, you're on the Mildred Gadis Show.
What line is Pat? 3?
Are we having a board issue here? I mean, what's up here?
Let me try to say this without cracking on my assistant, because she might throw that phone at me. She's not having a good day today.
But she's okay. I can't see her. I'm blocked out by all these monitors.
Okay. You're on the Mildred Gadis Show.
Someone, anyone. The phones are ringing off the hook. We just want to hear from you.
Okay, Lou, you're on the air. Girl, I'm so glad to hear your voice. You have no idea how happy I am to hear you.
Hi, Lou. Okay.
What's the... Hello, Danita? Danita?
Thank you so much.
Hello? Mildred be cooking my phone later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I have shucks on my phone working up on me. I'm sorry, my phone is starting to provide some feedback. Just like, hold on one second. Okay, Ms. Danita, okay, let me get this clarity. Do you want to just say your Danita and ask your question, or do you want to come in at a later date and that can happen? Okay. Okay. Okay, well, this is what you do. Give me your contact number. So when we have a friend that we can do, I know how to reach you for the next really do that.
No, you know, Lou, what is so heavy about what you're saying is this. Pure and simple, the numbers of returning citizens, those who have been released from prison, outnumbers probably the number of college graduates returning to Detroit. Now, what you need to consider doing is organizing so that those folks can vote, because you can vote in Michigan with a felony. My point is that with those numbers, once you start voting and helping determine the outcome of elections, guess what? You'll suddenly become viable. Well, believe me, I understand firsthand. No, you can, but understand this. Count the people that you take to vote, have them work with you, and I guarantee you that you can determine the outcome of this coming city council election, because the turnout is going to be abysmally low. Wouldn't it be something if the senior citizens and returning citizens determine the outcome of this primary election? It could happen. The numbers are going to be that low in the turnout.
I like that. Lucy, we're going to make a change. You know,
well, you're going to...
Because we got to get these numbers up. We got to get the numbers up. We have to get the numbers up at the poll. Lou, thank you for your commitment. Don't, listen, here's my philosophy, and I live by this. Never expect a no from someone who's not empowered to give you a yes in the first place. Now, if you're a Christian, nobody you know has the last word. No mortal man. Okay? Just keep doing the work.
Yes.
Keep doing the work.
Yes.
And if you keep doing the work, the mission is an honorable one, and things will come into place the way that they're supposed to be. Thank you so very much. Danetta, thanks for calling the Mildred Gadis Show, Miss Danetta. I sure can. I love your energy already.
Great.
Good.
Wa alaikum salam. So what are we going to do about it?
Well, you know what? There were two council persons who said they would not vote for a measure that would erode the legal transferring of education funds to a private entity. They were Brenda Jones, City Council President, and Raquel Castaneda Lopez. Is that it?
That's right. That's
okay.
right.
Those were the two.
And the other 7, Mildred, the other 7 are candidates to be thrown out of office. I mean, we can't beat around the bush and sugarcoat it. They did. But you know, Deetta Wilcoxon and Robert Davis were so right on with their legal approach. But they didn't stand a chance because the legal system is stacked against them. This legal system is so corrupt, so status quo oriented, so top 1-2% oriented. But I've got to give kudos to Robert Davis and Deetta Wilcoxon for bringing that court action. The forces of history are with Robert Davis and Deetta Wilcoxon for standing strong on that issue and exposing these 7 Detroit City Council people that deserted the people of Detroit, but they deserted the children of Detroit.
Stu in Birmingham, it's been a long time. How are you? Sam Riddle?
WP's What's your name? Yes, I'm sorry. She has.
Got it. Okay, good to hear from you, Stu. Okay, bye-bye. Have a great day. It's 27 past the hour, 313-298-1027, 298-1027. That's the number to call to get in on the discussion. We're going to be wrapping this up in about 3 minutes here on the Mildred Gaddis Show with Sam Riddle. I want to take a moment here and thank each and every one of you, all of you who followed us over from AM 1200 WCHB, which is no longer a Radio 1 station. And a lot of people have called me asking, what is that jamming music on WCHB? Let me just explain this to you. The new owners of the station have not taken possession of the station. So rather than letting there be dead air, and they could do it at any day now, Radio 1 is just running music so that the signal itself is not dark. But we're fully servicing here on WPZR 102.7 FM, and I thank all of you who followed us and all of you who stayed with the station as we came in and interrupted 2 hours of music here on WPZR. Randy Miles, of course, will be in at noon, as she is every day on the radio station. Just want to let you know that we are most appreciative. Sam, what are you going to leave the listeners with? Do we have some more calls over there? Can we take 2 before we let Sam go?
All right, go ahead. Burgess.
Burgess, thanks for calling. You're on the air.
My man, what's up?
WPZR, can I have your name? Cool. WPCR, can I have your name?
Well, first of all, the Q line is the train to nowhere, even though those business interests have bought up the property all up and down that line to develop it and systematically excluding native Detroiters from that process. But understand something about any transportation to the suburbs. The suburbs, by and large, do not want people from Detroit having ready access to the suburbs. That's why you won't see anytime soon a connection to the Q line that could take you straight up Woodward all the way to Oakland County. They don't really want us out there. And in terms of the rest of it, I think you really need to check with some of the transportation experts who understand what's really going on behind the scenes. There is a master plan. I would contend that most of the people that represent the real Detroit have been systematically excluded from even the planning stages. And understand, I can't stress this enough. The suburbs do not want the people of Detroit having easy access through a bus, let alone a train line out there. Does that make sense to you, though?
I mean, that's been the reality.
Yeah.
For decades. What do you want to leave our listeners with today?
Well, one thing about it, white folks, liberals and journalists, will lead us without question. But white folks have a heck of a lot of questions of you before you even allowed to get in the leadership line. In other words, these well-meaning white journalists and liberals, keep an eye on them. They'll lead you, but they won't let you get in a leadership position without asking a lot of questions.
Do you know that Dr. King, and I've been looking for this quote, and Minister Louis Farrakhan, who was in town one time, oh gosh, it's been years ago. You remember when the NAACP had this panel during its weekend over at Cobo some years ago? Reverend Sharpton, Minister Louis Farrakhan was there, and Minister Farrakhan quoted Dr. King's about what he said was spare him of those liberals. Essentially that they could perhaps be more dangerous to the movement and the ideals than those conservatives that we expect to be.
Absolutely, and I just want to leave you with that. Don't look to white liberals or white journalists for salvation. That's within us. We have to do for self.
Want to thank you very much, Sam Riddle. Always keeping it strong and real here.
And thank you, my sister. Take it easy.
All right, coming up next. And fashion consultant. Welcome to our first Fashion Forward Friday on WPZR 102.7 FM. How are you all on this day?
Doing good.
Awesome.
Excited.
Very excited.
Well, thank you. Thanks for coming in. Now, I thought that we'd take some time today and go to these. It's your show. It is your show today. I am totally out of my arena. I'm one of those folk who know what I don't know, right? So you got to tell us what was happening fashion-wise, what was hot and what was not at the BET Awards.
BET. Keisha, you want to?
Want me to chime in?
Yeah, let's chime in. I got a lot to say.
Well, let's hit it hard. It was very, very enjoyable. I was telling Cordell in the lobby that it was enjoyable to see fashion come back to life. It was enjoyable to see ladies looking like ladies, gentlemen looking like gentlemen, bringing back that.
So men had their bodies covered and there were no sagging pants with underwear exposed and all that kind of stuff?
No, actually. Everybody was well put together.
Did they send them a letter and tell them not to?
They must have. But I want to get to the host. Can we start there?
Go right ahead.
I had her on my list. Leslie Jones.
Yes, Leslie Jones, who I'm applauding right now because she's doing great things in the industry. But the hair is a bit questionable for me.
Quite distracting.
It's very distracting, and I don't think it's the best look for her. Now, I love the spike look. Don't get me wrong, but I think the cut needs to be a little more polished
and
because
refined.
It needs to be refined.
Yes.
The sides where there's a taper, I wish that she would let that grow out just a little bit so that it can have more of a shape versus just going straight up in the air. Now, if you looked at when she changed, you remember she changed into the red outfit,
yes,
the second half.
Yes.
Her hair looked a little more
softer.
Very much so. I saw that. I said, okay, maybe they didn't have time because what people don't realize, Mildred, is in those type of arenas when you're on a time clock. So sometimes the hairstylists might not be able to really put their foot into their hair, like they would if they were just in the salon. Exactly. So I'm thinking maybe the timing was off. Maybe she was running late and they just had to do something quick and send her on the stage. And maybe after the break, she was able to kind of take a little more time to.
Let's hope that that's
I'm hoping. but on the commercial, she looks like, so I don't know.
I understand what you're saying. And I think what you're trying to attack when in regards to Leslie Jones is the fact that she's such a powerful woman, and she does not need anything extra regarding whether it's a strong outfit or a strong hairstyle.
Because she walks into the room strong anyway.
In the realm
very much
strong already.
Let's see, women. I think that most women don't know that, and I don't know how often. Last time we were together, Keisha talked about these beautiful prints.
Yes.
These dresses. And when you got these colors and stuff going, you don't need jewelry competing with it.
Competing with it. Exactly.
Now I gotta tell you, I didn't know that. I was at an event recently and I had on one of my Keyside Fashions outfit. It was just hot. Every now and then you have one of those moments when you finish getting ready, you look in the mirror and you know you do, okay? Now there are other times folk gotta tell you, but every once in a great while, that's one of those moments. So I called her,
yes, you did,
and I told her what I was gonna do with the outfit and what was gonna happen with my hair. And she said, "Oh no, don't do that." She said, "You want to go softer with that." But most of the time, we don't know, and we can become so accustomed to wearing things a certain way, and we think it's okay. And when she made that statement on the air about if you got these beautiful flowers and stuff going, so we're all going into color now. Don't have your jewelry bring the jewelry down. Don't let it compete. So you're saying when Leslie Jones is such a statuesque woman,
she really is.
That she doesn't need anything competing with that. Right. That everything else should be softer and complement that.
Don't lose the femininity.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is, she might like that look, and she can wear it. It just needs to be refined a little bit. It needs to be
refined and softened because they kind of put her in some chiffon gowns, which I was so glad to see. Instead of this dominatrix wear, they put her in these soft chiffon gowns, and I had to bring pictures for my visual sake. I'm a visual baby.
I understand.
But looking at her, she's a strong, powerful. Even her upper body is strong. She has the muscles. But they softened her out with this lime green chiffon dress. Perfect, with her hair pulled up in like a mohawk, soft mohawk, and her hair was down in the back. Absolutely phenomenal.
Now, one thing about her though, she said she'll be turning 50 in September. Kudos to, because she looks amazing to be turning 50. She said she's 49, she'll be 50 in September. She looks good.
I thought she was in her late 30s.
So she's doing something well. Skincare, she's got it on lock. So she looks good.
She did look good. I agree with you on that, Cornell. I was glad to see again the women coming out in these wonderful. I'm a fan of chiffon because it just makes you feel like a female. Pretty and dressed up. It gives you that Victorian era kind of feel. Tasha Cobbs did the chiffon look. awesome. She usually wears a lot of the Nikki Hughes designer out of Atlanta, a lot of the neoprene fabric. It's like spandex. But she did the chiffon as well. Eva from the Top Model Show, she did chiffon. I was just saying, go my sisters, go.
Now listen, a few minutes ago you mentioned the dominatrix look.
Yeah.
What happened with my girl Mary J. Blige, Cornell?
Yeah.
I love Mary J. What happened?
She's hurting.
Yeah, it was.
I know.
Yeah.
It was almost there, just not quite.
Almost.
Like something was missing. Now, as far as her outfit, I don't know what was that. What kind of material? I don't know what that was.
Was it the Tin Man?
I don't know. It could have been the color, maybe too.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
could have.
I don't think that would have worked in any
color. If she wore it in black.
You know what? It's just that she looked so. It took her down.
It did take her
It took her down. You know, I contend that she's the only dark-skinned black woman who can wear blonde and it works.
Pull it off.
Yeah.
And pull it off.
Yep. Speaking of blonde, it was a lot of platinums. Did you notice that? A lot of platinum hair.
I did.
I'm like, that's going to be the trend probably this summer. I mean, platinum was
Latifah had it.
Cardi B,
Amber Rose, of course,
Tasha
she's
from
always-
Escape.
Exactly.
Who else? Tamar had it. She had 2 different wigs. She had one with the blunt bang,
did.
short
There's something
bob.
going on with her, Cornell.
With who? Tamar?
Yeah.
Yeah, something.
I mean, she's always. I don't.
She's always been like that.
That's just her.
I know.
I was going to say something's going on.
Well,
She's
something-
Tamar.
Look at it's the same thing that's been going on.
But she threw down on that performance.
She
We're not
did.
talking about performance,
She
but
did.
she put her foot in that performance.
did.
Now, I don't know if she was lip syncing or not, but whatever it was,
She did it.
She did it that day. Did you see the performance?
No,
Okay,
I
she was good. It was good.
Tamar
It
was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, growing up, my mother used to say everything isn't for everybody. So just because it's trendy doesn't
right.
mean it's for you.
That's right.
You mentioned the platinum.
A lot of them had platinum hair. It looked good on a couple of people. I like Tamar's, although
Yeah, it blends. It works for her.
She wears it well.
Always Amber Rose.
Amber Rose. Oh yeah, Amber Rose.
And-
That's
and
just like her
she's very
signature.
risque, but I like her delivery because she does it on purpose and without apology.
Right.
I mean, I'm not a fan, and she's not one of my favorites, but you have to admit she does what she does, and she makes no apologies for it.
And you can tell it's her. You can
It
tell
is her.
it's
It is her.
she's not putting on.
It is her.
Who else had the blonde? Tasha from Escape. It was okay. It wasn't quite fitting for her. You know what I'm saying? I think I would have added a little more gold hue to her and just maybe made it a little warmer, kind of closer to Queen's
Queen
blonde,
Latifah, yeah.
which she's another one who does great. I think her hairstylist does a great job every time I see her. Who else had the blonde? Cardi B. I didn't really care for hers, only because the wig just wasn't quite what I thought it should be.
It was the wig. It was
Yeah.
wiggy.
Now
It
you
was
got to
wiggy.
tell us, okay, Cordell. How do you avoid having your wig look wiggy? Do you go to full lace? Do you take that track and separate? You know, each track has 2 tracks on it.
Right.
Do you separate and thin it out so that it looks more natural? Is it the quality of the hair?
All of those things are factors. The cutting could be the factor. The cutting is definitely a factor, whether it's a full lace or just a synthetic.
If you got a
wig.
good cut, you can do anything with a good cut.
I have clients that bring me synthetic wigs, and we cut them up and do our thing, and you don't even know it's not a wig. So cutting is definitely the number one thing. As far as the full lace doesn't work for everybody because the maintenance on it. So it might look good when you leave the salon, but if you don't know how to maintain it or put it on, you can have the elastic band, but if you don't know how to properly put it on, if it's down too low or not up far, it can be a disaster. But I'm really, honestly, after looking at that, I'm kind of almost over the wig, even though I don't think it's going anywhere. But this lace front business, I'm just kind of
Now, lace front is dead. Lace front, to me, makes no sense whatsoever. If you get the full lace, which you can part the hair anywhere, and it looks natural, and it's a quality full lace, that works because it acts like it's your natural hair. But all this full lace, this front, that's it does
the baby hairs, the fake baby hairs.
Oh, now that's crazy too. But if you get a real full lace wig, a real quality one, and you can get a quality full lace for $200 to $300. I don't care what anybody says, because I bought them and I know you can. Okay, and you trim that lace off and you place it in the right place. you can go swimming, you can do a whole lot of other things, and it works. But somebody came with this idea that we'll stick some hard lace on the front that's scratching your skin anyway, sell it for $25, $30, $40, $50, and people went crazy, and it just doesn't work.
It doesn't
And
work.
it's overkill now.
It is. It is. And
Are we getting to a point? Because let me tell you what guys say. They are sick of the stuff that looks fake. They're just so sick of it. They don't, One guy asked me if there was a masquerade ball party in the city over the weekend. He said, I saw so much of this hair, and I saw this color, and I saw, but are women going back to not to natural, but to their own hair, and not adding a lot?
It's so much work.
It's not so much. They still on this wigs. More and more of them are embracing either natural hair, meaning curly in their own texture, or they're going to wigs. Not a lot of them are wearing their hair too much.
What's up with the huge afros? We saw them at the Cosby trial. We saw some. You see that? They went farther past. They were bigger than they were during the 60s and the 70s. I'm like, where are you going with that?
It's bypassed the political statement now. It's just almost a mockery, and it's supposed. Angela Davis made it where it was supposed to be a political statement and embracing your heritage, but now it's. Like you said, a fad, and everybody.
And they're not even trimmed. They're not trimmed. They're just going in all different directions and everything. Hopefully it's a passing fancy.
Yeah, I think just now in fashion it's just this. Everybody's free, just freedom of expression. Yeah. So they just wear it however you want,
Which is okay.
Yeah.
Can you say okay with boundaries?
Yes. Yeah.
With limitations that will look tasteful.
Right.
That's to me. That's you can rock anything, you can wear anything, hair-wise, clothing-wise, but you have to do it where it matches your personality and you look tasteful.
Right.
These people just don't look tasteful.
Right. Can we talk about a couple of guys from
Go right ahead, because we got about 3 minutes left.
The gentleman that plays Tupac, awesomely polished.
Very much so.
His tapered producer suit. I love a producer suit.
Ain't nothing like it.
And he was clean shaven. That was my favorite. And that was because Big Sean, the velvet pajama-y thing going on
like
with
it.
No.
Yeah. It's just kind of like he got off the tour bus jumped on stage.
Here I am.
Yeah. Diddy, I liked his the stripes. It's not. It's kind of hard to do.
Bold,
and he pulled it off.
Diddy.
He pulled it off.
It's very bold.
Jamie Foxx, I like that shirt he had on.
I do too.
Looked like it had some sequins or something around the sides.
But it wasn't too much.
Right. He was
good.
It
totally left field and you can, it wasn't like the. Here I am with sequins on. Like I said, Big Sean, to me, it was, I don't know, couldn't get it with the facial thing. It didn't look clean.
Yeah.
I'm used to a nice tapered man with a clean shaven look and eyes sparkling and shoes shining.
Yeah, he came very, here I am,
here I am.
But he repped Detroit. Did you see his performance?
But are we just looking like here I am?
You say you don't want to represent Detroit like that.
We look like that. Here I am.
Okay, guys, we got about 2 minutes left. Can you? Who just really ruined the night with their look?
To me, LaToya Luckett was my best dressed favorite hairstyle. She went back to the old Hollywood waves, and then she had, of course, floral print in chiffon. I loved it. She was just my favorite. And then the gentleman that plays Tupac in the new movie. I'm sorry his name escapes me, but those are my 2 favorites.
Cornell, quickly.
I really liked, surprisingly, Solange. She was very carefree, very herself.
She was kicking anybody.
She wasn't.
At that time.
And I think Diddy was my favorite guy for the night. I want to find out where he got that shirt from.
Listen, Keisha Sims, how do people find out more about Keyside Fashions?
Keyside, www.keysidecollection.com.
That's collection without an S and spelled Keyside.
K-I-S-I.
Cornell Jermaine, how do they reach you?
Any social media, Cornell Jermaine, CornellJermaine.
All right, I want to thank you all both. Have a great holiday weekend. See you in 2 weeks here on the Mildred Gadis Show.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
thank you all for participating in Fashion Forward Friday. Next time we got to talk about church clothes. Okay, can we do a little bit of that?
Absolutely.
Okay, we must. Oh, we're going to do it then. Hey, folks, this wraps up our show today here on the Mildred Gadis Show. Have a safe weekend. We got something really special planned for you Monday and Tuesday here on WPCR 102.7 FM. Randy Miles coming up next.
Great.